First thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to make me a couple of ball sticks. Here's what I mean by a ball stick. Right at the end of that stick, I'm going to drill me a little hole so that if I want to file a ball, I can hang on to it. So let's get that one out of the way. So I'll be able to stick a ball in there, and I'll be able to rub it around on my file. Now there's what that one looked like. Alright, let's do a bigger one. Don't want it real deep. There it is. It'll hold the ball. In a minute you'll see how I use that. I'm a fanatic for making things out of balls. On my video series, you've seen a ball pendant that I've made. If you've attended one of my classes, you've probably seen a ball ring that I've made. They're a nice, easy way to get rid of your scrap, and they are used in all kinds of stuff, look really good. I've been told that the Native Americans call them raindrops or teardrops. What I'd really like to do though is I'm going to make just a ball stud earring out of these, so maybe that much stuff right. Keep that from rolling back into my lap. Yeah, that's a pretty nice looking little ball. Got a little bit of continental grip going on around it. Let's pull off there and see if it'll stay. Well, welcome to my Pokemon fan club. That guy didn't make too good a ball, did it? Looks like it's got some crystals, some contamination in it. Let's heat it again and run it a little longer. I give it about 3 times. If I can't get a good ball out of it, then I'm going to take and use that for a casting of some kind. Alright, let's make some uniform balls. The uniform ones didn't turn out too good. Made out of the other scrap. Here's a pretty clean piece of fine silver scrap. See if I can cut them both the same size here. Seems like I'm having some difficulty. Let's try it again here. Don't you just want to reach into the camera and make that stuff go right where it's supposed to? A little bit short. Alright, I think that'll work. That should be close enough. Should be close enough. Just do one at a time right there. Now that's a fresh clean block. Let's make sure that thing doesn't roll off of my lap. Oh, look at her go. Well, there's another one for things can go wrong. Now I got crap all on the top of the block I've got to clean off before I put another piece on there or face the piper on it. Alright. So with this piece of metal, if I cut 2 pieces the same size, I should have Exactly the same size ball, wouldn't you think? Let's see what happens here. We're going to do it in that same spot. Maybe that'll eliminate whether or not that was actually contaminants in the metal or if it was something else going on. Looks like some paper on the back of that. Well, maybe that'll foul us up, we'll find out. Warm this puppy up. Oh, the paper seemed to burn away. It looked pretty nice. Last minute Nelly picked up a little junk on the side of it there. Let's give it one more shot. I'm resisting the pressure to pick it up again before it's completely cooled. That's close enough for what I want to do in this one. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Come on, baby, cool off. Alright, looks like she's cooled as much as she's going to. That's interesting. Two exactly the same size, but yet, if you look at them right now, it looks like they might be a little different. Let's go ahead and heat this one more time. Since this is fine silver, I'm not bothering to flux it at all. I could, and probably should, because there's still a little bit of contaminant in there. But I've got that charcoal block that's burning away just about any oxygen that could get in there and cause us any problem with the oxides. I got a little bit of stuff floating around that time. Maybe that'll help. Had some stuff floating around on top a little bit that time. Maybe that'll burn it off this time and get it out of there. Looks a lot better than those other two did. The contaminants I had in there caused problems. But I can put those in a straw casting or a tufa casting or something like that. And when we heat up the metal as much as we do, most of that will come out across the top of the piece of slag. Let's get this pickled in water and see what it looks like now. Makes a big difference when you pickle and water them. They look a lot better after being pickled just a little bit. So there's the two finished balls. A bit along there. We're going to use that tool we made a little earlier. So with a little hole in it right here when we drilled. Put the ball up there. It's not real bad on the bottom, but sometimes they are, especially if you've got a hole in the block. You should be able to just work a little bit. You'll hear the sound change when it's nice and smooth. That one started out pretty smooth. We got a nice flat bottom there. Okay, let's put this one up here. That looks a little bit grodier. Got something sticking out the bottom. Let's try it. There's how we hold the ball to file it. Pretty nice. You can see that they're a little bit uneven and uniform, but from the outside and the top of the ball, it doesn't look too bad. If you want to, spend a lot of time working on it, you could. I don't see a reason for it. I don't even think the customer's going to notice it. So, next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take them up here and we're going to get a stud on them. Make a little hole in this block. Shove one of them down there, like so. Didn't want to stay, that's fine. Doesn't have to. Just needs to be kind of stationary. For a nice square end, I'm going to use my pair of memory wire cutters. Nice square shear cut. I got myself about 2 inches of wire here. Just a rough guesstimate, 22 gauge sterling silver. I'm going to go ahead and put myself a little bitty piece of solder up there. Everybody knows how partial I am to hard solder. I don't like the medium and easy unless I have to use them. I feel that they discolor too much. And occasionally I've found some solder that didn't seem to discolor, and those are the brands too. Maybe you'll find some that you like that you don't have to fight it quite so much. So I'm going to put a little bit of that solder right there. I'm going to put another piece over here so I can have it ready. I'm going to heat up that solder and make it into a ball, and then I'm going to stick my heat up that solder, make it into a ball, then I'm going to stick my 22 gauge fine silver wire into it. I'm sorry, this is not fine silver wire, this is sterling wire. And there it went right up onto my stick. Now I'm going to put it over here on the back of the piece here and hang tight, and I'm going to heat the piece, not the wire. Hard to do. You should see it melt there in just a second. Looks like it did. It's not being nice. Alright, let's get a little flux on there. Well, that didn't get it, did it? There's what happens when you get the wire too hot. Let's try the other side. Shouldn't take much heat. There it went. Now pickle the water, and then we'll check it. Alright, so we've got a really nice back on it there. Held up really good and strong. I'm going to go ahead and take my chain nose pliers now. So if we look at that, it's held up pretty nicely. Pretty close to the center. going to cut it off about 5/8 of an inch out here. And to harden it back up, I'm going to grab it with my needle nose or my chain nose. And then I'm going to turn this probably about that length about 3 times. By the time I get done, I should have a fully hard piece of wire. And I can come down here and straighten it out. I'm not happy with it. I'd like it butter centered. So what I would do is I would cut that off as close as I can to it, and then I'll take and hit it back down with the this piece here. Boy, you can tell it's pretty nasty now. You can hear it. Go a little bit backwards because it's easier to move it. Once I get it started down a little bit, then I can go back the other direction. Be gone now. It is. Alright, it's hot when you do that. Alright, let's see if I can get a little bit better going here. This might be a place for somebody that's a little steadier than I am, could do that like that. But since I'm not that steady today, let's get us out a third hand to work with. Okay, so this is the third hand. I'll go ahead and get myself another piece of wire ready. Alright, let's warm that up a little bit. Get a little bit of flux on that guy. A little bit of solder on that end. Solder needs to go into a ball prior to me getting it on my wire here. Alright. Alright, we're going to heat that ball and not that stick. We'll watch that solder run to the back of that piece. There it went. Looks a lot better. Alright, we'll get her in pickle, get her in the water and do an inspection on it. Much nicer, much closer to the center. Go ahead and get the other end ready. There I go, using the old man tweezers again. I'm going to warm this up, get a little bit of flux on it. A little flux on this guy. Get her back in here and get her balanced on there again. There's a fine line between pressure and no pressure. I had to lift the tweezer up just a tiny bit as I hooked it on there. I'm hoping that as I start to heat it here, it's not going to jump off. We'll find out, like it did earlier. Alright, again, I'm going to heat around and I'm not going to heat it. That might be a little hot. reflected heat could be enough to melt my wire or burn the wire away like I did earlier. Come on, baby. You can do it. I know you can. You're about there. There she went. There she flowed completely. Alright, we'll get that baby in the pickle and the water, and then we'll harden it up some. Okay, so I put it back on the hot block, right? I'm just asking for it. Why don't I turn that hot block over? Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to turn these. This is about 2 inches. Usually with most of my wires that I use, 4 complete turns at 1 inch will be the equivalent of almost full hard. So this is about 2 inches. So in theory, 8 turns would be equal to 4 on each side. Unfortunately, this is round, so I can't tell where I'm starting. So I may need to make myself a mark on here somehow. Let's just do that right on the top. Hopefully that'll be able to see that. Already done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lost my line. Getting harder and harder to turn. You can barely. You feel like it's getting almost like it wants to break, but not quite. 8. Nope, that's 7. That's 8. So there's about it. Now, I left a little slop in here today. A little bit of slack. That's interesting. Now this side doesn't feel as tight, so I'm going to turn it another notch or 2 here. Okay. Feels pretty darn good. I'm going to cut it off about 5/8. I have people tell me different things, so I'm not sure what the industry standard is. If you got fat ears, you might need a longer one. Alright, so what should have happened is that should be pretty hard now. Hard enough to where you can slide your piece on there. Of course, you'll want to take your little dainty files wherever they might have gone to. Take your dainty files and clean them up. Ideally for something like that, you'd really rather have a, look at that rusty file. I can show you how long it's been since I've been out in the shop. Take your burrs off of them. There is a tool called a cup burr that works really, really good for this stuff. It looks just like a little burr like you'd use for your Dremel, but the end of it is concave. So when you put it on there, you go shh, like that, and that cleans it up. So there's our first stud earrings for today. A little polishing wouldn't hurt them. Probably tumble polishing would be fine. I've seen some folks that like to take their side cutters and do a little groove in there, just by holding it just a little bit. A little bit of ways in from the end, so that your earring backs hopefully will stop there. Oh, there's where you didn't go too tight, huh? Alright, you get the idea on those two. Let's see if I can do a real quick something else here. Let's do a couple of freeform ones. Freeform in the sense that that's a nice pretty little leaf that's been stamped out. Very inexpensive. Probably less than a couple bucks. Get myself another piece of wire, a couple inches long here. I'm going to get brave and try to do both of them at once. Let's see what happens. Easy to screw this up, I bet you. Everything is so thin. What's wrong with this picture? Everything's so close together. Just asking for trouble, huh? Let's see how much trouble I can get into. Well, we'll make it work. Gonna get a little bit of flux on the end of them here. Make our ball. Put our wire into it. There it went. Get it on here where I want it. Now this time, I'm the third hand. Remember, the leaf has to get hot enough to melt the solder this time. Do the other side now. Now this time I can hold the leaf. I don't have to hold that little bitty dinky thing. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, it's on there. Okay, so I get it where I want it. Now on this thing I've got it down a little ways. Alright, we got a couple little hummingbirds. Let's do them now. Alright, we get a little solder on this one. Get it over here on the back of this guy. Now that bird's got to warm up a lot. Oh, that didn't look good, did it? Let's see if we can take it from there. I think it finally went. Yeah, it'll be alright. Do the other side. A little bit too much pressure on that one. Got him in there. That bird's not the easiest thing to warm up. It's got to get pretty hot. Trying to remember now if I fluxed it. I don't remember if I did or not. There goes that one too. It's trying to go away from me. Oh, let's let it stop. See if it'll, we actually melted the wire. Let's see how it looks when we get done. Worst comes to worst, pull it off there and do it again. I'm kind of surprised and impressed. Turn that over so I don't burn myself when I'm trying to show you what I'm doing here. Alright, we got some points. Let's go for it. 1, all the way around. 1, 2, 'Oh, didn't work. And it broke off in the middle because that's probably the one I overheated real bad. Let's see if we still get the other side here. Come out to about 1 inch, go 3 more turns. 1, 2, 3. Feels pretty good. Step him off at a 5/8 again. Run back around here with this guy and make sure she's nice and flat. And I think that one will stay together. Alright, so what do we got to do here? Well, I think we can either break it off and just put another one on right beside it. Let's find out if we can do that. Give us another piece of wire we know we didn't overheat. Give myself a little more solder this time. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Maybe it'll go a little sooner. I think I forgot to flux that one. I don't remember for sure if I did or not. Very well could have. I guess I'll be able to tell when I go back into videos. Boy, I'm just setting everything on fire today. Pickle in the water. Sure. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. See how this one holds up. There's 1. There's 2. Oh, doesn't feel good. 3. Oh, they're starting to get tight. 4. I'm going to go a little bit more. 5. Come back out here and do this routine on it. Give it a little snip. Alright, so there's some fancy stud earrings. Let's see what happened to these guys over here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could probably go some more with this guy because it's a lot longer than 2 inches. And it looks a little funky right there, but it didn't break off. See if we can straighten out funky. When I sell them, I'll sell them with rubber backs on them. And I don't have to worry about that stupid little line that I just cut off on the other one. Alright, so what did we make in this video?
You never have too little to give. No matter what the cost, never question if you can. As good as it gets, and all the while, as good as it gets, I'd never turn another stone. As good as it gets, as good as it gets, it don't get better than this. Alright.